Callan Ward had always loved quiet places. Even as a child on Earth, he would wander into forests, climb gentle hills, and sit beside streams just to listen to the world breathe. Years later, when he became an engineer and moved to the frontier planet Vespera 9, nothing changed. He still sought peaceful corners, places most people walked past without noticing. That was why he was alone in Azure Canyon on a bright silver morning. The canyon stretched for kilometers, its walls filled with glowing crystal veins that shimmered when sunlight touched them. Many settlers thought the place looked dangerous, but Callan found it beautiful. He came often to repair small sensor devices placed along the cliffs, and today was another quiet repair trip. Callan walked carefully along a narrow path, checking readings on his handheld scanner. The air smelled fresh, almost sweet, and a gentle wind moved across the canyon floor. Everything seemed calm, everything seemed normal, at least until he heard a sound he had never heard before. It was soft at first, like a flute note drifting through air. Callan paused, listening. The sound came again, this time longer and trembling slightly. It didn't sound like machinery, wind, or any animal he recognized. Curious, he followed the sound around a bend in the canyon. The path opened into a large basin with spires of crystal everywhere, casting blue reflections onto the ground. And there, in the center of the basin, something enormous shifted. Callan froze. A creature lay partly hidden behind fallen crystal shards. Its long, shimmering tail curled helplessly, and one of its wings was pinned underneath a large chunk of crystal rock. The creature's scales glowed faintly, like tiny stars under its skin. Its body was shaped somewhat like a dragon from Earth. Stories, though Callan knew better than to assume anything in space, matched old myths. The creature was breathing fast. It let out another soft sound, the same trembling note Callan had heard earlier. It didn't look fierce. It looked afraid. Callan slowly lowered his scanner. He knew from settlement records that creatures shaped like dragons lived deep within Vespera 9's canyons, but they rarely came close to human areas. Scientists called them lumenwings because their scales naturally gave off light. People whispered stories about them, stories saying they were unpredictable or impossible to approach. But none of those stories showed one like this. Injured, alone, and struggling. Callan's heart squeezed with sympathy. He spoke softly, hoping his calm voice would carry no threat. "Hey. It's okay. I'm not here to harm you." The creature lifted its head slightly. Its eyes were bright, clear, and filled with nervous curiosity. It stared at him the way someone might look at a stranger knocking on their door unexpectedly. Callan noticed the wing pinned under the crystal piece. The creature didn't try to pull it free, probably afraid of making its injury worse. He needed to help, but only if the creature allowed it. He pointed toward the crystal gently. "You're stuck, right? I can try to remove that. Slow, careful, no pain." The creature blinked once, then again long and deliberate. Callan didn't know much about dragon-like communication, but something about its slow blinking felt like trust. He took that as permission. Callan placed his tool bag on the ground and walked forward with slow steps, making sure each movement was calm and predictable. The creature watched him closely but didn't pull back. When Callan was close enough, he could hear its breathing more clearly, uneven, but not panicked. "You're doing great," he murmured gently. "I'll be careful, I promise." The crystal fragment pinning the wing was heavier than it looked. Callan examined it, brushing dirt from its edges. He didn't want to push or pull quickly. Any sudden jolt might frighten the creature. Instead, he slid a portable lifting tool from his bag, a small device shaped like a flat disc. Callan set it under one edge of the crystal piece and activated it. The disc glowed softly, rising with a quiet hum. The crystal shifted upward, slow and smooth. As it lifted, the creature tensed slightly. But Callan kept his voice steady. "You're okay. Almost free." He guided the crystal piece aside and let it rest safely away from the creature. When he turned back, he saw that the trapped wings still lay pressed against the ground, stiff from being held too long. Callan crouched beside it. "Your wing's okay," he said, scanning it with his handheld device. A bit stiff, maybe sore, but no break. The creature let out a soft clicking sound, almost like relief. Kalen smiled warmly. Glad to hear it. Very slowly, he motioned with open hands. I'm going to help lift it gently. If it hurts at all, you can make a sound and I'll stop. He placed his hands under the wing's edge, moving slowly so the creature could see every motion. The scales were smooth beneath his fingers, warm with a natural glow pulsing through them. It felt like touching living light. Kalen lifted with steady care. The wing rose easily once freed. The creature stretched it slightly, testing how far it could move. Still cautious, it pulled the wing close again and curled its tail around itself in a protective gesture. There you go, Kalen said softly. You're safe now. Seam Saces 1, and this 43. For a few seconds, the canyon grew quiet again. Only the soft breeze moved between the crystal spires. Kalen sat back, trying not to look too excited after all. He had just interacted with a creature most humans never saw up close. The lumen wing tilted its head, studying him. The glow under its scales shifted from pale blue to a gentle green, as if expressing some kind of emotion Kalen didn't fully understand. Green means calm, right? He guessed out loud. Or maybe thankful? The creature made a soft chirping sound that somehow felt like agreement. Kalen laughed quietly in amazement. I can't believe this. You're incredible. The creature looked down at its wing, then toward Kalen again. It shifted its front claws and lowered its head slightly. Almost like a nod. Kalen took a slow breath. Everything in this moment felt fragile in a beautiful way, like a single choice could turn it into either a memory of wonder or a missed opportunity. He chose wonder. I'm Kalen, he said softly. Kalen Ward. I fix things. Mostly small things. But today, I guess I helped someone bigger. I mine. The dragon-like creature blinked, then tapped the ground twice with its claws carefully, gently. It seemed to be repeating a name-like sound. Sereth. Kalen's smile brightened. Sereth. That's a beautiful name. Sereth, that's a beautiful name. For a moment, Sereth looked almost proud. Its tail flicked lightly, sending a soft shimmer across the ground. Kalen noticed a few smaller crystal pieces scattered around its feet. It must have gotten stuck while exploring or landing. He looked around. Are you alone out here? Sereth lifted its head, ears twitching slightly. It looked toward the far side of the canyon but did not move. Kalen sensed uncertainty. Don't worry, he assured. I'll stay until you can stand properly. Sereth lowered its head as if accepting the offer. Kalen sat nearby, not too close, not too far. Just near enough to show he meant no harm. As minutes passed, the canyon warmed with sunlight. Sereth stretched its wings slowly, enjoying the new freedom. Kalen observed quietly, taking mental notes. Every movement of the creature was graceful, deliberate, and strangely peaceful. Not at all like the rumored wild stories settlers told. After a while, Sereth stood carefully. Its long neck arched with natural elegance, and it gave a gentle shake of its wings. A soft wave of glowing particles drifted from its scales, floating in the air briefly before fading away like tiny stars. You're looking better already, Kalen said. Sereth glanced at him, then at the sky above the canyon. It looked ready to leave, but instead of lifting off, it stepped forward and lightly touched the back of Kalen's hand with its snout. Kalen's breath caught. That's a greeting, right? Sereth made a gentle rumbling tone, warm, friendly, full of meaning Kalen didn't yet understand. Then something unexpected happened. The canyon echoed with distant chimes, soft, melodic, almost musical. Kalen looked up sharply. Sereth did too. From far above, shimmering shapes appeared against the sky. One, then two, then many. Their wings caught the sunlight, scattering thousands of bright fragments through the air like floating jewels. They were lumen wings, an entire pack, and they were coming straight toward them. Kalen stood slowly, heart pounding not from fear but from awe. Oh, wow, he whispered. Your family? Sereth gave a quiet hum, gentle, welcoming. Kalen did not know it yet, But the moment he freed Sereth, his life had changed forever, and the pack was coming to show him exactly how. Kalen Ward had never seen anything like it in his life. The sky above Azure Canyon shimmered with moving lights, soft, glowing shapes drifting down like stars carried on wings. At first, he thought it was sunlight hitting the crystal cliffs. But then he realized the truth. A whole group of lumen wings was approaching. They flew in a graceful pattern, forming a slow spiral as they descended. Each creature glowed with different colors: blue, green, gold, lavender, like living lanterns painting the sky. Their wings spread wide as they glided, barely making a sound. Kalen stood still, unsure whether to step back or bow, or simply keep breathing. Beside him, the young lumen wing he had helped earlier, Sereth, lifted its head high. The glow under Sereth's scales shifted to a deep teal, a color that felt proud and warm at the same time. Kalen whispered, "This is your pack, right?" Sereth chirped softly, confirming. The pack circled lower, and Kalen could finally see their sizes. Some were slightly bigger than Sereth, while others were much larger, with wings wider than a shuttle's wingspan. Their movements were calm and flowing, showing no sign of anger or fear. Even so, Kalen's heartbeat quickened. He had helped one lumen wing, but he had no idea how the others might react to a human standing so close. Sereth stepped forward, placing itself partly between Kalen and the descending pack. Kalen didn't know whether the gesture meant protection or presentation, but either way, he appreciated it. The first of the pack landed gracefully on the crystal floor of the canyon. Its scales shimmered with a pale gold light, and its wings folded like soft curtains on its back. Then another landed. Then another. Soon the entire basin glowed with their gentle colors. Kalen's breath shook a little, but not from fear, more from amazement. One of the largest lumen wings stepped closer to Sereth. Its eyes were large, bright, and wise. Kalen felt the air shift gently around them, as if the creature carried a quiet authority. Sereth made a series of soft notes, short, rhythmic, almost like storytelling. It moved its wings slightly, revealing where Kalen had freed it earlier. The large lumen wing lowered its head, inspecting Sereth's wing, and then looking at the moved crystal pieces. Its eyes glowed with understanding. Then it looked at Kalen. Kalen straightened his posture instinctively but kept his hands relaxed at his sides. He didn't want to look threatening in any way. "Hello," he said softly, unsure if the creature understood the word. "I helped Sereth." The large lumen wing blinked slowly once, then twice. Kalen recognized the gesture. Sereth had done it before. It seemed to mean approval, or maybe respect. Kalen smiled nervously. "I'm glad we understand each other, at least a little." The entire pack slowly began to gather around, forming a wide circle around Kalen and Sereth. The soft light from their scales reflected across the crystal floor, creating a beautiful pattern of colors. Kalen felt like he was standing in the center of a living, glowing mural. He swallowed hard. "Okay, this is new." None of the creatures moved aggressively. Their posture was relaxed, their wings tucked neatly against their sides. But there was something about the moment, something large and important that Kalen could feel but not yet explain. Sereth stepped aside and gently nudged Kalen forward with its snout. "You want me in the center?" Kalen asked softly. Sereth chirped again. Kalen walked to the open space inside the circle. His boots clicked lightly against the crystal surface. He felt dozens of gentle eyes watching him. Not judging. Not threatening. Just watching. The large lumen wing raised its wings slowly, not in a display of size but in a graceful, symbolic gesture. The other lumen wings mirrored the movement. Their wing tips touched the air like petals opening. Kalen watched with wide eyes. "What are you doing?" he whispered. The large lumen wing stepped toward him, lowering its head until its snout almost touched the ground. It made a deep, resonant hum that echoed through the canyon. Then the pack followed with their own soft notes, layering their voices into a harmonious chord. Sereth nudged Kalen lightly again, almost like encouragement. Kalen whispered, "Is this a greeting? A ceremony?" The large lumen wing turned its gaze fully toward him. The glow beneath its scales brightened into a warm golden tone. Slowly, gently, It extended one wing toward Callan, not touching him, but close enough that he could feel a soft wave of warm air drifting from it. The gesture was unlike anything Callan had ever seen. Then he realized something extraordinary. The pack was performing a ritual. A ritual directed toward him. Callan felt his breath catch. Wait. This is not just a greeting, is it? Sereth let out a soft, musical chirp that felt full of meaning. The pack folded their wings halfway, lowering their heads in unison. The light from their bodies grew brighter, pulsing softly like synchronized heartbeats. Callan looked around slowly, awe washing over him. This is, he whispered, some kind of acceptance. The large lumen wing stepped forward until it stood less than a meter from Callan. Slowly, it stretched its wing across the ground in front of him. An elegant, respectful gesture, like offering a hand. Callan hesitated only a moment before kneeling gently and laying his hand on the wing's smooth surface. The moment he touched the glowing scales, the entire pack's light brightened. A soft breeze moved through the canyon, as if the world itself responded. What does this mean? Callan whispered. Sereth stepped closer, wrapping its tail lightly around Callan's feet. The gesture felt safe, warm, almost affectionate. Callan felt his chest tighten with emotion. You're welcoming me, aren't you? The large lumen wing made a deep hum, calm and full of approval. Sereth repeated a lighter version of the same sound. Then the entire pack joined in, creating a gentle harmony that vibrated through the floor. It was not threatening. It was not loud. It was beautiful. Callan closed his eyes for a brief moment, letting the sound flow through him. When he opened them, he felt different. Not marked or chosen in a dramatic way. Just deeply accepted. As the harmony faded, the pack slowly lifted their wings again. Rising to their full height, the large lumen wing tapped the ground once with its claws, creating a resonant note that echoed like a bell. Sereth turned to Callan and touched his shoulder lightly with its snout. Callan's voice came out soft and shaking with wonder. You're making me part of your group, your family? Sereth's glow deepened, shifting into a warm shade of blue, gentle, peaceful, and full of trust. Callan almost laughed from the mixture of shock and joy. I don't know what to say. The pack didn't need him to speak. Their actions spoke clearly. Lumen wings didn't let outsiders into their inner gatherings. They didn't bring humans into their family circle. They didn't perform rituals for strangers. But today, they had done all of that. Sereth leaned its head against Callan gently. The large lumen wing stood beside them, watching with proud eyes. Callan whispered, I only helped because it was the right thing to do. I didn't expect anything like this. The pack seemed to understand the sincerity in his voice. Their lights brightened one last time before slowly dimming back to their normal glow. Gradually, the circle opened again. Some lumen wings moved closer to inspect Callan carefully, gently, while others stood back, observing with calm acceptance. One smaller lumen wing extended its wing toward Callan curiously, letting him touch the shimmering surface. Another tilted its head, making a soft chirping sound that felt like friendly interest. Callan realized something important. They were not just accepting him, they were trusting him. He felt warmth rise in his chest, a feeling of connection deeper than anything he had expected when he left his settlement that morning. I guess, Callan said quietly, smiling, I'm part of your story now. The large lumen wing blinked slowly in what felt like a peaceful agreement. Sereth stood proudly at Callan's side. And high above, the sunlight caught the crystal cliffs, scattering bright reflections across the canyon like a silent celebration. Callan didn't know what the future would bring. He didn't know how humans or lumen wings would react to this new bond. But he knew one thing for certain. This moment, this unexpected acceptance would change everything. And the pack had just done the unthinkable. They had welcomed a human as one of their own. Callan Ward walked through Azure Canyon with a strange new feeling in his heart, something he had never experienced before. It was not fear. It was not confusion. It was something warm, gentle, and almost unbelievable. He had been welcomed by a pack of lumen wings. As the sun climbed higher, its light scattered across the crystal walls and reflected softly off the glowing scales of the lumen wings surrounding him. Each creature moved with quiet grace, and Callan walked among them carefully, Not wanting to disturb their calm rhythm, Sareth stayed closest to him, walking by his side like a friend guiding another friend through their home. Kalen smiled as he glanced at the young Lumenwing. "Thanks for, trusting me." Sareth responded with a soft chirp, a sound that Kalen had come to recognize as friendly. The creature's scales glowed with a soft blue tone, peaceful and warm. The rest of the pack followed in a loose formation. Some watched Kalen curiously, glancing at him with bright eyes full of questions he could not yet understand. Others stayed a comfortable distance away, observing quietly, their gentle lights flickering with interest. Kalen walked slowly, allowing the pack to set the pace. Every step felt like part of something larger, something meaningful. He finally broke the silence. "So, what happens now?" He didn't expect an answer, but Sareth tilted its head thoughtfully and made a short sequence of notes, a melody that Kalen recognized as some kind of explanation. Of course, he still didn't understand the full meaning. But this time Sareth did something different. The young Lumenwing stepped forward, flapped its wings lightly, and then pointed its snout toward the far side of the canyon, where a narrow ridge led upward. Kalen understood the gesture. "You want me to follow you?" Sareth nodded at least. It looked like a nod. Then the creature began walking toward the ridge. Kalen followed. The climb was gentle, and the path wound upward in a soft curve. As Kalen reached the top, the view widened into a beautiful sight. A broad plateau opened under the sky, glowing softly under morning light. Crystal formations formed natural shapes, peaks, arches, small pillars like a garden sculpted by time. The pack entered the plateau and spread out comfortably. Some lay down on warm crystal slabs. Others stretched their wings or gently tapped the crystals with their claws, creating faint musical notes. Kalen watched in wonder. "This place, it's like a Lumenwing meeting ground." Sareth made a gentle trill of agreement. Kalen took slow steps forward, observing everything. The plateau felt sacred, peaceful, and safe. The light from the crystals reflected off the Lumenwing scales, bouncing between them like friendly lanterns in a night sky. Sareth approached a low crystal cluster and tapped it with its claws, producing a soft, bright tone. Then it looked back at Kalen. "Music?" Kalen guessed. "You use the crystals to make sounds?" Sareth tapped 3 more times, each tone different. Then another Lumenwing joined in from the other side of the plateau, tapping their own formation, creating a gentle harmony. Kalen's face lit up. "It is music." He walked to a small crystal pillar and touched it carefully. When he tapped it lightly with his knuckle, a faint note rang out. Sareth blinked with delight. Kalen laughed. "So I can make music too?" The pack seemed to approve. A few Lumenwings lifted their heads and hummed. Their hums mixed with the crystal notes, creating a peaceful, layered sound that drifted across the plateau like a gentle breeze. Kalen closed his eyes for a moment. The calm around him felt almost magical. When he opened them again, he saw the large golden Lumenwing, the one that appeared to be the leader, moving toward him slowly. The creature's steps were steady, confident, and calm. Its scales shimmered brightly, reflecting warm light across the ground. It stopped a short distance away and gazed at Kalen with thoughtful, intelligent eyes. Kalen bowed his head respectfully, remembering how the pack had bowed earlier. "Hello, I'm happy to see you again." The leader lowered its head slightly in return. Then it made a deep, slow hum, steady and full of meaning. Kalen didn't fully understand, but he could feel the tone in his chest, like a soft vibration. He spoke quietly. "I think you want to show me something." The leader glanced at Sareth and then back at Kalen. Sareth chirped excitedly and nudged Kalen gently toward the center of the plateau. Kalen followed, still unsure. The leader spread its wings halfway, creating a soft glow around its body. Then it slowly began moving in a circle around Kalen. Its steps were steady and precise. Kalen felt nervous, but Sareth stayed beside him, keeping everything calm. As the leader circled, the other Lumenwings began to hum softly. Their lights brightened, pulsing in gentle patterns across the plateau. The air felt warm, like sunlight washing over skin. Kalen whispered, "Is this another ritual?" Sareth chirped in a tone that felt like, "Yes." The leader stopped in front of Kalen, lowered its head again, and held it there for a moment. Then it slowly touched its snout to the ground. The others copied the gesture. It was a sign of deep respect and acknowledgement. Kalen's breath caught. "You're honoring me?" The leader blinked slowly. The light under its scales shifted into a soft gold, radiating trust and acceptance. Kalen had no words. He placed a hand gently on his chest. "I only did what anyone should do. I helped a friend." As soon as he said the word friend, Sereth made a happy chirp. The pack hummed in approval, and the plateau lit up with brighter colors. Kalen smiled shyly. "I didn't know humans and lumenwings could be friends, but I'm glad we can." After the ritual ended, the pack relaxed again. Some lay down, tired from the gentle ceremony. Others moved toward the edge of the plateau to enjoy the warm sun. A few curious lumenwings walked close to Kalen, inspecting his tools and watching his movements. Kalen sat on a comfortable crystal slab. Sereth settled beside him, resting its head near his shoulder. Kalen gently touched the creature's scales. "They're warm," he murmured softly. "Feels like sunlight." Sereth gave a content hum. Kalen leaned back, letting the quiet moments settle around them. He felt peaceful, connected, welcomed, but something else was growing inside him too, a sense of responsibility. He looked around at the pack. "I want to understand you," he said softly. "Really understand. Not just guess what your sounds mean." Sereth perked up, listening. Kalen continued. "Humans don't know much about your kind. We only have stories. Some are wrong. Some are confused. But I think we can change that." Sereth made a soft, curious sound. Kalen turned to the creature with a gentle smile. "I want to learn your language, your signs, your colors, everything. Maybe I can help humans and lumenwings understand each other better." The young lumenwing's glow brightened with excitement. It tapped its claws lightly on the crystal floor, a gesture Kalen was beginning to recognize as happiness. "You're happy about that, huh?" Kalen laughed. "Well, I guess it starts now." Sereth stepped back and began teaching him immediately. It flapped its wings lightly, one slow flap, then two fast flaps, then one slow again. Kalen repeated the pattern with his arms, feeling silly but committed. Sereth responded with a cheerful trill. "Okay," Kalen said. "Wing patterns mean something." Next, Sereth changed the brightness of its scales, dimming them, then brightening them, then switching colors from blue to green to a soft yellow. Kalen took notes mentally. "So color changes are emotions, feelings, messages." Sereth nodded. Then the lumenwing made a sequence of chimes by tapping its claws on a crystal cluster. Each tap created a different tone. Kalen studied the rhythm carefully. Music too, more than music. Maybe part of your communication system. "Bisan, of Fars." Sereth tapped again, this time slower, more gentle. Kalen paid close attention. Hours passed without either of them noticing. By the time the sun was starting to lower, Kalen had learned dozens of small signals, wing movements, eye blinks, light pulses, and crystal tones. He felt proud, but more than that, he felt connected. He looked at Sereth. "We really can understand each other. Maybe not perfectly yet, but we will." The pack gathered around them again as evening approached. The sky turned soft orange, and the plateau glowed like a field of warm stars. Kalen felt a quiet warmth in his heart. He had come to Azure Canyon for a simple repair job. Instead, he found a new purpose. The lumenwings had welcomed him as one of their own, and now, step by step, he was becoming a bridge between two worlds, one human, one luminous, both full of hope. The sky over Azure Canyon was painted in soft shades of orange and pink as the sun began its slow descent. Kalen Ward stood on the plateau with Sereth by his side, looking over the shimmering crystal formations that had become both home and meeting ground for the lumenwings. He felt a strange mix of pride, humility, and anticipation. Today, something important was about to happen. In the past days, Kalen had learned much from Sereth and the rest of the pack. He understood their wing patterns, the colors of their scales, and the soft musical sounds they used to communicate. He had even learned to make gentle chimes with the crystal pillars, which the lumenwings seemed to appreciate. But today, The moment was bigger than learning it was about cooperation. A low, humming sound reached him from the far side of the canyon. Not a threat. Not a warning. Just a gentle vibration in the air. Kalen turned to see a group of human engineers, carrying tools and small sensor devices, climbing the ridge toward the plateau. They had heard about the Lumen Wing sightings and Callan's work with Sereth. Some were cautious, some were curious, and some were skeptical. Kalen raised his hand and called out, "Don't be afraid. They won't hurt you. They're amazing. But calm. Just watch." The humans stopped a few meters away, observing the glowing creatures with awe. They had heard the stories of Lumen Wings being unpredictable, even dangerous. But Kalen's presence among them gave a signal that something different was possible. "Something extraordinary," Sereth chirped softly, then flapped its wings once in a rhythm that Kalen had learned to understand. It was a welcome. Slowly, the other Lumen Wings rose, their wings catching the last rays of sunlight and scattering light across the plateau like stars. Kalen took a deep breath. "Everyone," he said to the humans, "we're going to work together. The Lumen Wings have a way to sense energy changes in the environment. They can see things we can't. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. If we combine their abilities with our tools, we can prevent the landslides that sometimes happen here in the canyon." The humans hesitated for a moment. Then, one by one, they began to trust him. They set down their toolkits and observed as the Lumen Wings demonstrated. Sereth flew to a narrow cliff edge and hovered, wings glowing softly. The creature tapped the cliff with a claw, producing a low, harmonic chime. The sound resonated through the canyon and alerted the humans to a minor crack in the crystal formation, a crack they might have missed. Kalen's heart swelled. "Exactly like that. They can warn us before accidents happen." The humans quickly got to work. Using the guidance from the Lumen Wings signals, they placed small, light sensors along the canyon walls. These sensors would detect vibrations or changes in the crystal formations. Meanwhile, the Lumen Wings continued to patrol the plateau and nearby cliffs, hovering where their eyes and senses were needed most. Sereth flew back to Kalen, chirping in a way that seemed proud. The young Lumen Wing had learned to guide him through each step, just as much as he had learned to understand the creature. Together, they worked as a team. Human knowledge and tools paired with Lumen Wing senses and instincts. Hours passed quickly. The sun dipped lower, and the plateau glowed under the light of the Lumen Wing's scales. The humans moved efficiently, impressed by the creature's abilities and their calm, cooperative nature. One engineer, a young woman named Lyra, whispered to Kalen, "I never thought they'd let us work like this. I thought they'd run away or attack." Kalen smiled. "They're not just creatures. They're intelligent. They care about the land, about each other. They can sense our intentions too. That's why trust matters." As the last sensors were placed, a small tremor ran through the canyon. The ground shifted slightly, a minor movement that could have become dangerous without warning. Immediately, several Lumen Wings lifted into the air, their wings beating in a rhythmic pulse, sending sound vibrations that Kalen and the humans had learned to recognize as attention needed. Kalen pointed to the humans. "Adjust the sensors, follow the signals." The humans moved with confidence, guided by the glowing creatures above. A crack in a crystal spire was detected early, and together they reinforced it with lightweight supports. The collaboration worked seamlessly. Humans and Lumen Wings, together, had prevented potential disaster. When the work was finished, the plateau fell silent for a moment. The humans looked at Kalen, then at the Lumen Wings, in awe of what they had just accomplished. Kalen knelt beside Sereth and whispered, "You see? We can do this. We can work together and protect the land. You trusted me, and I trusted you. Look what we did." Sereth chirped, tail curling gently around Kalen's leg. Its glow shifted to soft green, a color Kalen had learned meant calm happiness. The large golden Lumen Wing, the leader, stepped forward and lowered its head in a gesture Kalen recognized as approval. The other Lumen Wings followed suit, forming a semicircle around the humans. Callan stood tall, facing the group. "Everyone," he said. "Today we've done something incredible. Not because of strength, not because of tools alone, because of trust, because of understanding. Humans and lumen wings together. That's something no story has ever shown before. And we just did it." The humans smiled, some even laughing softly in relief and pride. Lyra stepped forward, her voice full of awe. "It's like we were part of something bigger than ourselves. I never imagined I'd see humans and lumen wings working as one." Callan nodded. "It's not the end. It's just the beginning. If we continue learning, respecting, and trusting, we can make the canyon safe, and maybe show other places in the world that humans and lumen wings can coexist peacefully." The pack of lumen wings lifted their wings in unison, their lights glowing brighter than ever. Sereth hovered above Callan for a moment, then landed softly beside him. The young lumen wing's glow shifted to gold, the highest color of approval and trust. Callan felt a wave of emotion. He had never imagined such a moment. Not in his wildest dreams. The lumen wings had not only accepted him, they had inspired hope, not just for him, but for all humans who would come after. He looked up at the plateau. The canyon seemed alive with the glowing lights of the lumen wings, reflecting on the crystals and the sensors carefully placed by the humans. The combination of nature, technology, and trust created a harmony that Callan had never thought possible. The humans began packing their equipment slowly, but nobody was in a rush to leave. They stayed to watch the lumen wings move gracefully across the plateau, glowing and singing their soft melodic hums. Even the engineers, who were most skeptical at first, were now quiet, respectful, and amazed. Callan took a deep breath and whispered to Sereth, "I think we've shown them something important. We've shown them what humans can be." Sereth chirped softly in reply, curling its tail lightly around Callan's leg once more. As night approached, the plateau shimmered under the first stars. The lumen wings began to settle, their wings folding gently. The glow dimmed, but remained soft, like lanterns in the dark. Callan sat on a crystal slab, watching the creatures he had once feared, now friends he deeply respected. He realized that the moment was not just about helping the canyon or teaching humans about lumen wings. It was about something bigger. The possibility of understanding across differences, the power of trust, and the proof that humans could rise to meet challenges not with force, but with care, patience, and wisdom. Callan whispered to the quiet night, "This is humanity's moment. Not because we are strongest, not because we have the best tools, but because we can care, we can understand, and sometimes we can make friends where no one thought friendship was possible." The lumen wings, sensing his words, let out a series of soft harmonic hums. It was as if they were agreeing, celebrating, and welcoming humanity into their world. Callan closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the warmth of trust and acceptance fill him. The canyon, the crystals, the glowing creatures, and the people who had chosen to work together. It was all a perfect harmony, a moment of peace, hope, and inspiration that he knew would echo through the settlements of Vespera 9 for years to come. When he opened his eyes, Callan smiled. He looked at the pack, Sereth, and the human engineers. "Tomorrow," he said softly, "we continue. We learn more. We protect this place. Together." And for the first time in his life, Callan understood fully what it meant to belong to a species, to a place, and to a cause greater than himself. The lumen wings shimmered softly in the night, and the humans watched, quietly proud. Together, they had created something extraordinary, a bridge between worlds. A story of trust, understanding, and the best of what humanity could be, a true HFY moment. And Callan knew that, no matter what challenges lay ahead, this bond would guide them all forward, human and lumen wing alike, toward a future built not on fear, but on hope, cooperation, and unity.